Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be flying out the Machi C-200 Saeta, or Lightning. The C-200 was a fighter aircraft developed by Aeronautica Machi and resulted to be one of the most produced and used aircraft of the Italian Royal Air Force during World War II. This aircraft operated from the hot and dusty deserts of North Africa to the cold, snowy Russian steppes. The C-200 proved to be a robust fighter with high maneuverability but had a weak engine and a scarce armament. The aircraft only had two 12.7mm machine guns that were fired through the propeller. An interesting fact about the C-200 is that the open cockpit that it has now hasn't always been open. The pilots that flew these requested for it to be open since a closed cockpit caused problems with bailing out. There were 1,153 Saetas built between the years of 1939 and 1943 before being retired in 1947. Losses grew in the face of a more aggressive enemy, flying newer and better aircraft. Anyway, here's me flying in the C-200 Saeta. I see 3 enemy aircraft on my teammate, so I'm going to start my dive. I'm going to kill power and put myself into a forward slip. A forward slip is when you use opposite aileron and opposite rudder to descend in altitude and hold a certain airspeed. I'm actively looking around for other enemies. I decide to dive on this hurricane below me. I start firing and get a couple of good hits on him. And give him a fuel leak right there. Almost have a mid-air collision, but I maneuver out of the way. And now I'm going to use all the energy I just got to climb back up to altitude. I'm using some flaps to tighten up my turn and get down a little quicker. I see this guy coming in firing at me, so I jink out of the way. A jink is an evasive maneuver. I'm going to keep turning with this hurricane because I know I'm going to win the right fight. I use some flaps to tighten my turn and get around a little quicker again. I start firing, and this really just shows how scarce the armament really is on the C-200. I kill my power and dump all the flaps so I don't overshoot. He's not able to pull up, so he hits the building. Right after that kill, I have the sudden urge to be Maverick from Top Gun. I start heading for this MiG-3 in front of me because he's the closer one and he's also coming in towards me. I lose a little bit of altitude to keep my energy because he's coming in really close. I start firing and get a couple of hits on him. Give him a fuel leak. As I level out, this MiG-3 is not able to pull up in time and crashes into a building. And then after a couple of minutes, we end up winning the game. Now we're in the next game, and I start to dive on this Typhoon. I'm going to use the forward slip technique just for a couple of seconds. It's not going to be very effective because my nose is entirely too low. I start firing and get a couple of hits on this guy. Unfortunately, I miss a lot of my shots, though. The good thing is that I am able to give him an oil leak. I'm looking above me to see if there are any other enemies diving on me. As I come around, I fire at the Typhoon again, and I'm able to set him on fire. I know that he's not able to pull up, so that's a pretty easy kill. I see this P-63 coming in above me, so I'm going to let him come in just a little bit closer before I make my maneuvers. You definitely have to be very mindful of when you make your maneuvers because you don't want him to get too close where it's too late. Once he's a mile and a half away from me, I'm going to dive down to gain speed and energy. Once I'm past his nose, I'm going to pull up because I know he's not able to pull back around to me. He goes for one of my teammates close by. He doesn't do anything, so he just climbs back up with all his energy that he just gained. I'm not going to follow him up because I know that he has a lot more energy than I do. I'm still going to fly towards him, but I'm not going to climb up like he is. If I were to follow him up, then I would stall out, he would come back around and then have an easy kill on me. I see that he's coming back around, so I'm going to dive down to gain some more speed and energy. I'm going to try to maneuver out of the way. He goes for my teammate again. I'm going to try to get a shot off on him, but unfortunately I miss. He makes a very crucial mistake and goes vertical. I still have my energy, so I follow him up, and it's a pretty easy kill from here on out. After a couple minutes of flying, my teammate and I find the last guy who is a bomber. I'm going to start firing pretty early because I want to get a couple of hits on him before I go behind him and his backgunners try and shoot me. I dive down so it's harder for his backgunners to shoot me. As I come back in below him, I know his backgunners are out of range, so I get a couple of easy hits on him. I know that he's looking at my other teammate, so he's not going to fire at me. As I come back around, I see that it's very tight, so I pull away. Thankfully, his gunners miss me, and I'm able to maneuver out of the way. As I'm coming back around, I notice that it's again too tight, so I pull away. As I pull back into the fight, I get a couple more shots off on him. And just like that, my teammate and I make him go into a flat spin, and there's nothing that he can do about it. Just like that, we win the game. Thank you to everybody for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed. If anybody has any aircraft suggestions of what I should fly next, please leave it in the comment section down below, and I'd be happy to fly it.